Okay. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention tracks cigarette smoking in the United States. How has the percentage of people who smoke changed since the danger became clear during the last half of the 20th century? The scatter plot on page 214 shows percentages of smokers among men 18 to 24 years of age as estimated by surveys from 1965 through 2004. So notice it has the percent on the y-axis and the year on the x-axis. Is there a clear pattern, and describe the trend? So what do you notice?
It like goes down.
Yeah. So yes, the percentage of smokers was at a steady decline until around 1990. Then there was a slight I'm just going to say slight increase. Is the association strong?
Yes.
Yes, what kind?
Moderate. Wait.
Strong and moderate are like opposites.
Okay.
What does that graph look like?
I know it's not linear.
It's not linear.
Exponential. Half of a parabola.
A parabola. It's a strong parabolic association.
What is parabolic mean again? That means
Like a parabola.
oh, like the curve, like at the bottom.
So based on that, is a linear model appropriate?
No.
Correct. No. Shape of the scatter plot is parabolic. So a parabolic model would be more appropriate. All right, number 4 ties to number 3, but we don't have to have done 3 to do 4, so there's a scatter plot with number 4 also. The United Nations Development Program uses the Human Development Index, the HDI, in an attempt to summarize in one number the progress in health, education, and economics of a country. The number of cell phone subscribers per 1,000 people is positively associated with the economic progress in a country. Can the number of cell phone subscribers be used to predict the HDI? There's a scatter plot for HDI against cell phone subscribers. So cell phone subscribers is on the x-axis and HDI is on the y-axis. So first it says, explain why fitting a linear model to these data might be misleading.
Because they're not like
It's exponential.
What's the opposite of exponential?
not
How do you undo an exponential?
Wait. Oh, logarithmic function.
Yep. Specifically a natural log. So the data levels are off. Not R. Data levels off. Okay, because it starts out, it's like going up and then it kind of just like flattens more or less. I mean, it obviously still has a slight curve, but it like levels off. So that's what it means. The data levels off and would be better modeled by natural log model. So if I were to take the data that I have and try to fit a linear model to it rather than using a natural log model, what do you think the scatter plot of the residuals versus the predicted HDI would look like? So essentially, if I put a best fit line on there, like through my data, what do you think is going to happen?
More outliers?
So remember, the residuals are how far the points are from my best fit line.
So more residuals? I don't know.
What do you notice at first about both sides of this line? Maybe something that's a little more transparent. What do you notice? Where are the dots?
Top, they're more.
Huh?
There's more, like above.
iPad's on, about to shut off. So initially we have some below and some above, right? But what do you notice toward this end?
Oh, there's gonna be more below, like where you go up.
Yeah, so initially there's a pretty good mix of positive and negative residuals, but the farther out we go, they become, like, there's more negative residuals to fit that data. So, to start, there is a good mix of positive and negative residuals. Eventually, most will be negative, meaning the farther out I go. I remember which button I have to push now. And it goes backwards. I used to swipe this way, and now I have to swipe this way.
They changed the way you have to swipe it.
For it to go to the next picture, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's so annoying. I'm sure there's a way to change it back, but. All right, number 8. So this one is about movies, and it also ties to number 7, which I believe is one that I've given you for homework. Does the cost of making a movie depend on its audience? Here's the scatter plot of the same data we examined in example 7, with an R-rated or R-rating are colored. The movies with an R rating are colored purple. PG-13 are red, PG are green. Regression lines have been found for each group. The black points are G-rated, but there were too few to fit a line reliably. Okay. So, we've got that scatter plot there labeled for you on page 215. In what ways is the relationship between runtimes and budget similar for those 3 rating groups?
As like run time or the longer the movie, the like bigger the budget tends to be.
Yep. So longer runtime. Leads to a higher budget. The way you said it is fine too.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. But it came that but that doesn't matter. She doesn't know what's on the So what does he say about it? Okay. Well, I'm gonna let the AD do his job and tell her no. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I had no idea that this was even a potential until you asked me the other day, because I didn't even read the email, because I just don't look at the emails because they're usually not right. So. Okay. Sounds good. So Fletcher has told him he needs to tell him no. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Bye.
Who were they even supposed to play?
Walsingham.
Did they know we had something that day?
The middle school coaches do not work here, so they would not have known that we had something tomorrow.
Okay. But it just wasn't communicated very well to them.
I'll wait till this is not recording and then I'll tell you. Virginia knows exactly what I'm talking about. All right. How do the cost of R-rated movies differ from those of PG-13 and PG-rated movies? Discuss both slopes and intercepts.
It has like a lower line and stuff. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, so the intercepts are different. That's like a huge one, which means that their starting budget is lower, right? Wherever the intercept is would be your starting budget. Like that, if you're going to make let me find the right color, an R-rated movie, you have not even $1 million to start with. If you're going to make PG-13, you've probably got, I don't know, in the range of 15 to 20 million to start with. And if you're making PG, it looks like you're probably up closer to about 30 million to start with. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So the intercepts are different. What about the slopes?
They look about this, like between PG-13 and R, it looks about the same.
Yeah. And I mean, even PG isn't that drastically different. But yeah, I would say something like All three have similar slopes. R-rated movies have a much lower starting budget. And then, I mean, even so, like, the budget overall for R-rated movies stays less than, right? Because, like, the other lines aren't really intersecting it. So it has a much lower starting budget and lower budget overall. Purely just speculation, but why do you think that is?
They're like less people are gonna watch them just because they're R-rated.
Yeah, because there's a lot less people in the world that can watch an R-rated movie, right? So you have to be a certain age to watch them and all that.
I don't think I followed that. Like, I was like 12 and my dad took us to see Suicide Squad. And I remember walking in and it was literally just me and my sister were the only kids in the theater. And like, I don't think he knew like how like the portrait was gonna be.
Did you know it was R when he came in?
I don't think so.
Well, and I mean, you can go in an R-rated movie if you're underage as long as you're with an adult, but it also depends on why it's rated R.
Yeah.
Right.
Because,
That was for like drugs or like just language.
yeah.
Some it's just because it's like if it's a war movie.
Like, I just don't enjoy them because, like, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear cuss words every 2 minutes, or really more like every 30 seconds in an R-rated movie.
I don't think I've ever watched an R-rated movie before.
I've seen a couple, but primarily been war movies.
Yeah.
Like, there's one that's called, like, American something. It's about a sniper guy. Saw that one.
Yeah.
Like, so it's been stuff like that that's been, you know, or like a World War II movie that
Well, not
was
something
rated
where
R,
it's
but
like-
not like, yeah, not just like, oh, I'm just gonna go watch, like, I didn't see Deadpool, I'm pretty sure that's rated R.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure if it's rated R, but
It
I've never
is,
seen
yeah.
that, nor do I want to.
I heard the Deadpool Wolverine movie, there was like cuss words every 5
Yeah.
seconds.
I just don't enjoy stuff like that. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to fill my head with that.
Yeah.
Like,
That's kind of how I am. I remember I was at Jaden's house and they watched like The Boys. That's like that one Amazon show. It sucked. It was just like, it was just so much going on that was just like I don't really want to watch
Yeah.
this. It was just like
I'm like, I know it's wrong, but I still don't want to, like, fill my head with that stuff.
right.
Like, yeah. I don't
And
know.
just like, I don't know. I just like, it's kind of like cringy. Like to hear
Yeah, it
It's
feels like it
it's
feels like a
so
12-year-old being
unnecessary.
edgy.
It feels forced, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Well, because it always seems like it's like a little kid just like finding out what edgy
Mhm.
humor is, and they just like wrote the script and
they
just
take
like
it and run with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't feel great after watching stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, if it's a war movie, it doesn't, I mean, yes, it phases me, but it doesn't really phase me
It's
that
like a
much,
good
especially
kind of
when they're,
phase.
like, based on a true story.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
That's when
totally
you should
fine.
be phased by it because it's like
Yeah.
based off like
I mean, it's like, that's really sad that, like, that's the reality that those people have had to live, kind of thing.
right.
I don't necessarily think it's always to that extent, but I understand, not that I condone it, but I understand the use of language to get across a harsh point at times and stuff like that. So, like, it phases me, but not as much as it would phase me to just watch a Deadpool type movie.
Right. Because there's like no need for any of what's in there.
Yeah. All right, part C. The film King Kong, with a runtime of 187 minutes, that's a long movie, is the red point sitting at the lower right-hand side, so you can see it's like way down by itself. If it were omitted from this analysis, how might that change your conclusion about PG-13 movies? So essentially, what's going to happen to the slope of that red line if we remove that point?
Will it go down or will it go?
So if you remove a low point, it's going to make it go, yeah, it's going to bring it higher. If you removed a high point, it would bring it lower.
Okay.
So essentially, omitting it would make the slope much steeper. And what we would probably conclude then that the cost per minute of PG-13 was greater than the others. Because, I mean, realistically, it already is kind of greater for, overall, but especially as, like, movies are getting longer, it's would get much steeper, much quicker. All right, let's look at 18 really fast. I think, no, let's wait on 18. We only have like 2 minutes left, and I want to actually be able to make sure we can talk about it. So we'll do 18, and then I think it's 12 is the last one tomorrow.
And we'll do homework over the
And then
weekend.
you'll have problems. I mean, they're kind of all like this. I would think you'd probably be able to get a lot of them done tomorrow.
Okay.
I probably won't make them due on Tuesday, just because the book is falling. Just because it's long weekend, I don't want y'all to have to do homework over the long weekend if
Yeah.
I can avoid it. But, if you want to do them just to get them out of the way, that's fine too.